There's a reason some homes feel instantly elevated even when they're understated, and others look nice but never quite cross into high-end luxury. Today, we are going to talk about why luxury design isn't about price tags or trends. It's about judgment. It's about knowing what matters and what doesn't, and when to stop. I'm going to break down 7 quiet design rules that separate truly high-end homes from everything else. These are the things designers rarely tell you about. So I'm going to be sharing and spilling all the secrets. There is no gatekeeping here on the red elevator. Make sure and stay till the very end, because the final rule is the one I see people get wrong time and time again the most, and it's really important. Even in expensive homes, I see this mistake made, so make sure and stay tuned to the end. Before we get into it, if you love thoughtful, design-forward conversations like this, make sure you subscribe. I share how designers actually think, not what looks good online. Rule number 1, every room needs a clear hierarchy. What do I mean? Well, here's the first thing designers look for when we walk into a space. Where is my eye supposed to go? High-end homes always have a hierarchy, one dominant moment, supporting elements, and then quiet background layers. A luxury interior might have, for example, one anchoring furniture piece, one strong architectural or material moment, everything else intentionally stepping back. If everything is shouting, nothing feels special. And once you understand hierarchy, the next rule changes how you choose furniture forever. Here's rule number 2. Scale will always matter more than style. You can have the most beautiful pieces in the world, and if the scale is wrong, the room will never feel right. So this is why people hire interior designers and always wonder, how come when they do it, it works better? Because of these little secrets that I'm sharing with you. You guys can do it too. High-end interiors almost always use fewer pieces, larger, more confident proportions. Designers think in volume. We don't really think in square footage, and we certainly don't over-decorate. Understated and underscaled furniture feels hesitant. Correctly scaled pieces feel intentional. Slightly oversized pieces, when done well, feel ultra luxurious, and is definitely one of my most favorite, I would say, tips and tricks. This is one of the biggest differences between a space that looks designed and one that feels collected without a point of view. Now, here's where things get quieter and honestly more interesting, which is rule number 3. This is probably my favorite takeaway, and that is negative space. Negative space is doing more work than you actually think. Empty space is not a mistake, it's a decision. Something that I tell my clients over and over again when they say, well, what are we doing in this corner? What are we doing in that corner? Is we're doing nothing, because that is intentional negative space. Luxury interiors allow for pauses, places where the eye can rest, moments where the architecture or materials can shine. If every surface is styled, every corner filled, every wall decorated, the space never settles and it just feels cluttered and a little amateur. Designers intentionally leave things undone, not unfinished, but unresolved on purpose. Visual restraint reads as confidence, and confidence always feels expensive. And this rule is why some neutral rooms feel flat while others feel incredibly rich. Rule number 4. Material depth is more important than color. Now, high-end interiors don't rely on bold color to create interest. They do not. They rely on materiality. Think about plaster instead of flat paint, stone instead of porcelain, solid wood instead of veneer, natural textiles that change with light. So material depth creates shadows, textures, and softness without needing visual noise. And it is one of the tricks that we use as designers on a regular basis and have been using it for decades. This is why luxury spaces often photograph quietly but feel incredible in person. They reveal themselves over time and can also evolve over time as things weather and get even more patinaed. Quick pause here. If you're designing a space and feel stuck on materials, proportions, overall direction, this is exactly what I work through in my one-on-one consultation. So I'm going to leave the link to book a Zoom call in the description. My calendar will pop up and we can get on a quick Zoom call and discuss whatever issues you're having. I have been named top 40 on the expert platform, which is where we do our Zoom calls, because we have had so many successful bookings and rebookings. So I'm really grateful to our community. All right, back to it. Now, this next rule is subtle, but once you notice it, you're never going to unsee it. Rule number 5, repetition creates sophistication. So what do I mean by that? Luxury interiors repeat themselves. Not obviously, not identically, but intentionally. So designers repeat wood tones, metal finishes, curves or lines, proportions across rooms, not necessarily the same exact tones of the color, but things that are homogeneous to one another. So this repetition creates rhythm. It makes a home feel confident instead of decorative. When every room introduces something entirely new, the house feels fragmented. When a vocabulary carries through the space, it feels designed. And speaking of restraint, this next rule is where a lot of expensive homes quietly miss the mark. Rule number 6, the best pieces don't try to impress you. So high-end interiors don't perform. The strongest pieces often look simple at first glance, and their quality reveals itself slowly. Period. Why did I say period? Think back to all of the rooms that you guys have seen over the years and how simple they have looked in certain architectural magazines. And then you ask yourself, how come that simple room looks so good? Well, this is the point I'm trying to make. Designers gravitate towards furniture with impeccable proportions, lighting that supports the architecture, art that feels personal, not decorative. If every piece is trying to be the moment, the room becomes exhausting. Luxury trusts the viewer. It doesn't over-explain itself. Oftentimes when we design a home, you will note that the art is very personal to the client because it is a very personal choice. And what creates authenticity in that home is when the art is authentic to that human being who loves, for example, just modern art, something of color. And you'll see a lot of color on their walls. Or perhaps what they love is just a simple photograph in a room that is very, very ornate. And these are the touches that you guys need to incorporate, or shall we say, display in your homes. It shows your personality, it shows who you are. And for example, if you were to go to a photographer's home, you know the photographer lives there. I hope that makes sense. One designers care about deeply, but most people don't even realize exists. Rule number 7, high-end homes resolve transitions. They're not just about an isolated room. Luxury design isn't about designing beautiful rooms in isolation. It's about what happens as you move through the house. You can't design one gorgeous room and then forget how the transition comes across. Most homes are designed room by room. Luxury homes are designed in spaces between rooms. So designers obsess over how a floor material ends and another one begins. All of these are called transitions. How ceiling heights shift from one space to the next. How doorways frame what comes after. How sight lines align as you move through the home. This is why when we do all of our consultations at my studio, what we do is we have SketchUp visualization videos that we walk our homeowners through so they can see what angle you're able to see from one room to the next room. What can you see from the living room out? What can you see from the kitchen out? What do you see from the windows out? These are really important decisions that need to be thought out before you start constructing a home. And if your home is already built, it is also really important to look at different positions within those rooms and how they look to the next room. These transitions are where a home either feels intentional or disjointed. In high-end interiors, nothing just happens. It's really a threshold. Materials don't abruptly stop. Proportions don't suddenly change. The eye is gently guided from one space to another, moving ever so slowly as if you were on a magic carpet. That sense of ease you feel in a luxury home, it comes from resolved transitions and from an entire few decades of experience. Hence, the homes that stay with you aren't the ones with the most things. They're the ones that move you through effortlessly. And when design is done well, you don't notice the rules. You just feel calm, you feel grounded, you feel a sense of peace, and you are quietly impressed without knowing exactly why. And these are the reasons why. I want you to take a moment to look at those details, look at the transitions, and understand why the interplay of these materials and transitions create what I call design magic. That's the difference between decoration and design. Design resolves how a home is experienced, not just how it looks. So if this shifted how you think, remember, take that with you into your next room, into the next hotel, as I mentioned, or into any space that you are attracted to. And if you want to go deeper in how designers think, not just what they choose, well, make sure and subscribe because we are going to have the absolute best content in 2026. I will argue that this will be the best interior design channel on YouTube. Why? Because we put hours and hours of work into these episodes because we want to give you everything that you'll ever need. So this channel is good not only for the layman, the regular person who wants to design their home, but also to designers. I get a lot of consultations from designers who want feedback from their own designs before they present to clients. So that is always a huge accolade. I am very grateful to all of you for showing up week after week, for being positive, and for loving this channel. We love you back. Thank you for being a member of our community, and I cannot wait to see you next week when we spill more secrets on this channel. Have a good one.